Hi folks, Marty here, and today we're going to be painting some little Christmas cards as part of our Christmas card series. So this first one is going to be a snowman, and we're just going to keep it nice and simple. And I'm using a small piece of paper, watercolor paper, as you can see. And what I'm going to do is just quickly sketch in a ball shaped like this here. And then one for the middle area, and then one for the top. Okay, and then let's give him a carrot nose and some wee eyes and a happy looking face, and we can put on him a little hat. Okay, and then I want this one to have like a red scarf. So we'll put a wee scarf on like that. And then what we'll do is we'll put a wee robin on his carrot nose. Okay, and that's another little ball like that. And the wee legs, and then this is going to be the little red breasted part of the robin, and give him a wee tail. Okay, so what we need to do now is give him a bit of shadow. We've got to think where the light's coming from. If the light's coming from this direction here, or the source of light, that is, if it's during the day it'll be the sun, if it's at night it'll be the moon. So you got to think about where the light's coming from. Okay, so I think we'll put the shadow on this side of him. So just gently sketching in where I want that shadow to be, and then we'll let it kind of cast onto the ground here, like that there. And then we'll give him a couple of buttons down the front. Okay, nice and simple. So basically it's snow, and snow is really a reflection of other colours around it. And so if we're going to paint in this snowman, we need to think about how we're going to make this colour stand out. And when I'm doing snow, I usually give it kind of bluey purple kind of tints, and I think we'll do that, but we need to maybe give it a wee bit of colour just around him, just to make him stand out a wee bit. Okay, so first up I'm going to go into my shadow colour, and I always use cobalt blue for that, and a wee hint of alizarin, and that gives me a good shadow colour. Okay, so I don't want too many hard edges. I know I've sketched in this line here just to indicate where the shadow is going to be, but ordinarily I wouldn't sketch that in. It's just for your benefit to see what I'm doing here. I would normally just maybe put a drop of clean water in here, not too wet, and allow the shadow to blend into it so you get a better blend. So if I go into my clean water, or cleanish, and I just put a wee bit of clean water here like this, not too wet, and a wee bit up there, right? And then I go into my colour, and I start on the outside. Just trying to get the right depth of colour here. Yeah, I think we'll work with that. And what happens is it starts to bleed into the clean water that we just put on there. And that'll give you a nice soft transition, like that. And then maybe a wee bit more purple there. And then we'll just, while we're here, we'll just take the shadow out. Just trying to get the right right depth of colour. You don't want it too purple or too blue. So if you want to put a wee bit of yellow ochre in there, that's great for just toning it down a wee bit like that. Maybe a wee bit darker. And then we'll just drop that down the side here. So hopefully we'll get a nice transition. Okay, and then what you can do is you can also use your brush just to soften up anything that's just too hard, like so. And I will also put a little bit up here. Don't forget to put a wee drop of my clean water in here like that, just so as I get that nice transition there. Okay, I'll try that. And one for this part as well. And I'm just going to soften that up with some clean water there like that. And then just use my brush just to soften that up, make it look a bit more rounded. Okay, I think we'll just dry that off now. So at this stage we will work on the hat. So grab one of your darker colours there, and if you have a black you could even use that, but if not, you can make up your own dark colour by using ultramarine blue and a bit of alizarin crimson, or even a bit of brown, or all the darkest colours you can get in your palette. So what we'll do is we'll do this all one tone, and then when it dries we'll come back and then we'll do a bit of a darker tone behind it. Don't be afraid to kind of allow little bits to go unpainted. Maybe make that hat a little bit broader at the top there. Okay, so what you can do is just dampen off the liquid on your brush, and you can even just touch that wee hat like that. And what that does, it just makes it look like there's a bit of a highlight on it. And then just as when we did the body of the snowman, at the back we dropped a little bit of a darker colour in, like that. And that just helps to give a wee bit of variety in your painting. Okay, and I think we'll just dry that off quickly. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a wee bit of red paint into this picture, especially seeing it's Christmas. I'm going to put a wee drop in one of my wells here. And I've been using a number 6 brush. What I'm going to do now is switch to a slightly smaller one. It'll just give me a wee bit more control. And then I'll go into that nice red colour. It's a nice orangey red. As you really want this to stand out. Get that big scarf up around there. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a wee bit of alizarin into that red. just to give me a wee bit of maybe a wee hint of blue there. What I'll do is that'll darken that red down. So it's great, especially at the back bits, if you want to make it look like there's a wee bit of shadow on that. Okay, and then I'll drop a bit of that dark stuff in, like that. And that'll do for the little tassels and so on at the bottom of the scarf. A wee bit darker there. And don't worry if it's all a wee bit hit and miss. That's part of the character of the thing, you know. Okay, and I will dry that off. Okay, so now we need to mix up a nice orangey colour for the carrot on his nose. So I'm just grabbing some of my red, and then I'm going to pull in a wee bit of, you could either drop in a yellow or orange, and with that red I'll give you a nice vibrant colour. And then for the buttons that are used for his eyes, I think we'll just go for something a bit of a dark colour like that. Let me just start on the buttons to see if it's dark enough for us. Maybe a wee bit darker, so a bit more blue and a wee bit more of that alizarin. Do these buttons nice and big. And we'll do them for the eyes as well. And then now the mouth. So we want him to look happy, so we'll do it kind of like that, as if he's smiling. Okay, at this stage we're going to just turn our attention to wee Robbie, and what we want to do is, obviously we want him to be also nice and red. So we'll just, starting on the head, this is quite small, so the smallest brush you can get, I suppose, would do the job. Just do that whole head there like that, and bring it down like this. And then I'm going to use a really small brush now. And just lift some of that liquid out there. And I'm just looking at how, if you can see, the liquid on that or not. It's still quite wet. I'll lift it up there. See that? So what we want that to be more of a dry satin kind of effect to it. So you can do this to just lift some of that out, right? And then what we'll do is you want to go into a brown colour. If you don't have a brown, you can mix up your own by using red, blue, and a bit of yellow. It's just a case of tweaking the ratio of that just to get it to the right colour of brown you're after. And then I'll just drop it in like this. So it's like a wee round shape. And then his tail just comes down the bottom like that. And then for his beak, maybe we'll go a wee bit darker. So we want this to be nice and thick, nice and creamy. this texture. If it's too wet, it'll just run badly into the red part that we just laid down. So just a wee beak there, like that. And then the wee legs on our robin kind of go this way. If this is you find this too difficult, this bit here, what you could do is just use a pen. I'm going to take a wee bit of that red out from here. So I'm just looking at this and just thinking how I can make this snowman stand out. So what I'll do is I'll get the eraser and take out some of the pencil. I mean, you can leave the pencil in, it's if you want. It's all part of that, the charm of a hand-drawn character in watercolor. And some people do like the pencil mark. I don't mind it either way, but I'll take it out for this. And if there's any unsightly lines, this is a good way just to tidy it all up. This makes it look a wee bit more smoother. And I'll clean up wee Robbie there as well. And then maybe around the front of the snowman. So the problem here will be that the snowman will start to disappear at the front there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to mix up my shadow colour again, and I'm going to drop a bit of shadow underneath the hat and maybe underneath the scarf here. And it's usually when you do this that it begins to stand out and just looks a wee bit more three-dimensional. So just getting that palette nice and clean. Some clean water and then a bit of cobalt blue, bit of alizarin crimson, so I think we'll try this, okay, and then we'll just drop a wee bit of shadow just underneath the hat here. And then maybe bring a wee bit out around here. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is soften that up like this here. So it's just clean water. And I'll just drag it over here. And it gives us that nice rounded effect there. And then we'll put a bit underneath this scarf here. Just trying to get it dark enough. So sometimes you just gotta keep on getting in and out and just working with it until you get something that you're happy with. So I'll try that. And it's just into the clean water again and just soften up any hard edges like so. And then put a wee bit in here. And just mop up any excess pooling of the water there. So I'm going to go in that and try and lift some of that out there. Put a wee bit of water on, and you can just use a tissue just to soften it up. I'll just dry that off. Okay, at this stage I'm looking at this and I'm looking at how I'm going to make that snowman stand out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix up some nice dark colours here. I'm grabbing my ultramarine and I'm going to put a bit of yellow into it, and maybe one of these dark colours here. But keeping it towards the blue end of things, okay? Alright, and what we'll do is we'll go into our clean water, and we just got to be kind of careful here, okay? So what I want to do is I want to just brush a wee bit of clean water where I want these trees to be, and I'm just trying to be careful just to paint around the snowman here. I think we'll keep that about there. And then what we'll do is we'll just drop some trees in the background here. Just paint around the snowman's tummy. Just bring that on down to about here. And then what we're going to do is go into a slightly darker colour and just kind of run that off the bottom like this here. Alright, I'm just going to dry that off now. Okay, so what I might do is just do a couple of smaller little trees here. So just put on a wee bit of water, and I'm just trying to be careful to paint around the snowman so as not to rub up the colour there. Let's see, we'll try it from there. Bring it down to about here, and then we'll go into our dark colour, and then we'll just do a couple of wee bits like that there, and just let it kind of bleed in. And down the bottom we'll go into something a wee bit darker, just to kind of finish it off like this here. And we'll just dry that off. And I think what we'll do at this stage, we will maybe do a little bit of I think we'll do a bit of something in the foreground there. Maybe just to give the impression that there's snow in that foreground. That's the good thing about putting tape around the edges. If you decide to do something a wee bit fancier, it makes a nice frame. So again, it's our shadow colour, and we want this well watered down, okay? So what we're going to do is we're just going to, you know, drag little bits like this, hit and miss. Just bring that down to the bottom, and that'll help to frame it a bit. Maybe a wee bit of alizarin in that, just to... Okay, I think we'll stop there, and I'll dry that off. Okay, at this stage, this is the fun part, and it does get a little bit messy. We're going to use our gouache, and we're going to put a wee bit in a separate sauce there. I don't like mixing this in with my normal paint palette because it's so opaque that it will give you problems trying to get it out, and you could end up cross-contaminating your lovely paints here. So what you can do here is, I use a wee spray. Just find it a bit easier just to control it, get the right consistency. Still too thick. If it's too thick, you'll not be able to do this technique. So, and you don't want it too runny, or it'll just drip all over the place. Okay, so once you have it at the right consistency, okay, we're going to hold the brush at this angle here, and what we're going to do is we're going to top it with our finger, our index finger, and it's going to spatter the little white bits here, and it'll make it look like snow. So starting on the side, and then just like that. I mean, you don't have to do the snow or anything up in the sky, because it would be an absolute waste and you wouldn't see it anyway. But you can certainly do it anywhere that has paint or it's dark. It'll contrast nicely against it. Okay, now we don't want to go overboard with this here, because you can do too much and then just go too far and end up losing the effect. Put a bit down here as well in that shadow area. Okay, there we go. And then we'll put some down in that foreground. So it's just getting that topping motion. There we go. I think that'll do it. And we're just going to keep our sky white. There's no point in getting into that at this stage. So all that is left is just to dry that off. And finally, we're just going to put our signature on it. And I'm going to use the nice red color again. And now for the big reveal. And there you have it, a lovely little Christmas card idea. It'll not take you too long to do, and you could take that and you could stick it onto a piece of card, or even scan it into the computer and print it off. You could even adjust the colors and put some text on just with your greeting on it, and that will look really well, and anybody would be glad to receive something like that. So have a wee go at that, and I'll see you in part 2.